If you've ever looked at Nibbler and thought, "Aw, what a cute little space hamster," congratulations, you've fallen for the most successful con in the galaxy. Because behind those glossy button eyes, the tiny cape, and the aggressively marketable proportions hides a creature living in constant, grinding, interdimensional despair. Nibbler isn't a pet, he isn't a mascot, he isn't the emotional support meatball of Planet Express. He's a 1,000-year-old, hyper-intelligent guardian of reality who has to cosplay as a baby animal because the universe can't emotionally handle the truth. And honestly, neither can he. Imagine waking up every day knowing you're responsible for stopping cosmic forces so ancient and destructive that even the concept of fear would ask, "Hey, can we not?" Now imagine doing all of that while your coworkers dress you up in outfits meant for toddlers and feed you kibble like you wandered out of a gift shop display. That's Nibbler's life, 24 hours a day, every day, forever. And the worst part? Nobody around him is equipped to understand what he is. He lives with a delivery crew whose work culture is press buttons first, ask questions never, and if something explodes, that's Tuesday. The Planet Express team can barely keep a ship fueled and a robot from committing new crimes every hour. Yet somehow, reality has decided this is the environment where the universe's emergency responder will spend his days. So, today, we're diving into the emotional catastrophe known as Nibbler's existence. Cosmic duty, psychological torment, weaponized cuteness, and the crushing silence of being the only being in the room who knows the universe is 5 minutes away from collapsing but can't say a word about it. Welcome to the tragedy, the comedy, and the tiny furry apocalypse that is Nibbler's life. And trust me, it only gets worse from here. Here's the thing about being a Nibblonian. It's not glamorous. It's not noble in the fun way. It's noble in the exhausting way. The "congratulations, you are now responsible for everything forever" way. Nibbler isn't just smart. He isn't just intelligent. He operates on a level of cosmic awareness so absurdly advanced that if a normal human tried to hold it in their brain for more than 3 seconds, their skull would file for resignation. It's not like he's good at math. It's worse than that. Nibbler thinks in timelines, in probabilities, in branching futures. He doesn't remember events. He remembers versions of events. He doesn't have instincts. He has calculations disguised as instincts. He doesn't make choices. He runs simulations like a supercomputer trapped inside a plush toy. Picture Fry trying to solve a simple riddle. Now picture Nibbler simultaneously tracking 7 different future outcomes of that riddle, plus the ripple effects of Fry choosing the wrong answer, plus the cosmic consequences of Bender getting bored and breaking something. That's the mental workload Nibbler is carrying, just to exist in the room. And what does that kind of intelligence get him? 0 respect, 0 recognition, 0 emotional support. His friends are a crew that treats advanced science like it's a rumor. Professor Farnsworth might understand the math, sure, but even Farnsworth treats catastrophe like a fun hobby. Bender treats morality like a speed bump. Fry treats warnings like optional side quests. So Nibbler lives with the psychological burden of knowing too much and being surrounded by people who know too little, and who also happen to be responsible for steering a spaceship. This is not a gift. This is a curse wrapped in a prophecy wrapped in fur. Because when you know every possible disaster in advance, you can't relax. Ever. You can't turn off your brain. You can't take a nap without calculating what happens if you nap. You can't enjoy a peaceful moment because peace is just the quiet right before someone at Planet Express pushes a button labeled "Do Not Push." And here's the most tragic part. Nibbler doesn't even get to feel smug about being smarter. He can't flex. He can't show off. He can't correct people without risking the stability of reality. He is brilliant, but trapped in silence. He is wise, but forced to act stupid. He is cosmic, but living among chaos. And that brings us to the humiliation that turns this from heavy burden into cruel joke. Because intelligence isn't even the main source of his suffering. The main source is what he has to pretend to be. If cosmic intelligence is Nibbler's curse, pretending to be a pet is his punishment. Imagine being one of the oldest, wisest beings in the universe, and your full-time job is pretending you don't understand how doors work. For Nibbler, humiliation isn't occasional. It's a lifestyle. It's his brand. It's his mask. He waddles around making baby noises, not because it's cute, but because if he speaks too clearly, he risks destabilizing the timeline, triggering panic, or making someone like Fry faint in a way that accidentally changes history. So he does the performance. He does the He does the innocent stare. He does the "I'm just a lil creature" routine. And the Planet Express crew responds exactly how you'd expect. They treat him like an actual toddler. They carry him around. They coo at him. They talk to him like he's incapable of understanding what a triangle is. Meanwhile, inside that tiny body is an ancient consciousness thinking, "I have witnessed the birth and death of sons, but sure, yes, please do scratch behind my ears like I'm a decorative pillow." It's not just degrading, it's identity erosion. Because every day he's forced to live in this role, the universe reinforces the idea that he is not allowed to be himself. He's allowed to be useful quietly. He's allowed to be powerful invisibly. He's allowed to be wise as long as he looks silly while doing it. And the absurdity gets worse when you realize the environment he's performing in. Planet Express is basically a floating accident waiting to happen. This is a workplace where a robot openly commits crimes, where deliveries regularly involve hazards, and where their survival strategy is usually, "Hope the ship doesn't explode this time." So Nibbler must pretend to be harmless in a world where harm is the default setting. Imagine the psychological pain of having to respond with a squeak when you want to say, "Please stop putting me in costumes. I am actively preventing your species from being deleted from existence." But he can't. He can't slip. He can't break character, because the moment he does, the delicate cosmic chess game collapses. So he keeps up the act, day after humiliating day, while holding back the truth that he is, and always has been, the smartest entity in the room. And that naturally leads to the next layer of torment. It's not just that he's pretending to be harmless, it's that he's carrying the universe while pretending to be harmless. Nibbler isn't just hiding intelligence, he's hiding responsibility. Because while the Planet Express crew is delivering packages, getting into trouble and reinventing new ways to almost die, Nibbler is doing something far more exhausting. He's managing reality like it's a fragile glass sculpture, and everyone around him is sprinting through the room with hammers. When timeline risks appear, Nibbler doesn't react. He predicts, he anticipates, he manipulates outcomes with tiny nudges, subtle interventions that prevent disasters without anyone noticing. He doesn't get to swoop in heroically because heroism gets attention, and attention ruins plans. So his victories are invisible. Fry does something heroic by accident, applause. Leela saves the day with skill, respect. Bender causes a disaster and then fixes it, somehow credit. Nibbler prevents an extinction-level event by adjusting one tiny variable and eating the evidence. He gets, "Aw, look at him." He is the universe's emergency response system, but everyone thinks he's a chew toy enthusiast, and that pressure is endless. Every failure is catastrophic, Every tiny mistake has consequences that scale up like a nightmare. He can't afford a bad day. He can't afford distraction. He can't afford emotional collapse. Imagine living your entire life with the knowledge that if you get lazy, trillions could die. Now add the insult of being adored only for your cute exterior. That's existential torment served with a side of kibble. He's carrying a cosmic arsenal of responsibility in a body that can barely reach a console. He is the strategist of the multiverse trapped in the ergonomics of a plush animal. He is essentially a tiny, furry Atlas, living among people who think Atlas is a brand of paper towels. And with that responsibility comes the cost no one wants to talk about: isolation. Because what do you do when the entire universe depends on you and nobody can know? You get lonely, crushingly lonely. Here's the part nobody likes to think about. Nibbler isn't just a guardian. He's not just an ancient genius. He isn't even just the last line of defense. He's a weapon, a living device engineered for one purpose: hold back the darkness or die trying. And being a weapon is lonely in a way that eats at you. Sure, he has the Nibblonian Council, but calling them friends is like calling your boss your soulmate because they didn't fire you this week. The Council gives orders, they assign missions, they deliver apocalyptic updates with the warmth of a spreadsheet. They don't hug. They don't reassure. They don't say, "Hey Nibbler, that was brutal. Are you okay?" They say, "Do your job." And on Earth, it's worse, because the Planet Express crew forms bonds in the loud, chaotic, dysfunctional way that humans do. They argue, they laugh, they grow, they fail, they apologize, they try again. They get to be seen. Nibbler has to sit there, unseen. He watches Fry stumble through life and still get love. He watches Leela get respected even when she's frustrated. He watches Bender be a monster and still get included. He watches human messiness turn into human connection, and he can't participate because real connection requires honesty. And honesty, for Nibbler, is a weapon of mass destruction. So he stays quiet. He stays small. He stays cute. He can't vent. He can't confess. He can't say, "Bad day at work, almost got swallowed by a cosmic singularity." He just endures. Imagine having thoughts older than galaxies, and your only conversational option is "buh." Imagine seeing everyone else's lives unfold while you quietly save them from off-screen disasters they'll never know existed. He is always near them, yet emotionally miles away. He knows versions of their futures, knows dangers ahead, knows who will survive and who won't. But he has to keep smiling like a harmless pet. That kind of loneliness doesn't just hurt, it corrodes. It turns wisdom into bitterness. It turns duty into exhaustion. It turns survival into routine. And it feeds directly into the next torment, the truth he can never reveal. If loneliness is the wound, secrecy is the salt. Nibbler lives under a blanket of cosmic secrecy so thick it could smother a black hole. He knows everything, sees everything, understands everything, and he can say almost nothing. Not because he enjoys being mysterious, not because he's trying to be dramatic, but because the wrong truth at the wrong time can unravel reality like its cheap thread. Nibbler carries knowledge that can't be shared. He knows why certain people matter. He knows why certain events must happen. He knows which disasters are allowed to occur because preventing them causes something worse. That's the kind of guilt that doesn't sleep. because sometimes the truth could save someone. Sometimes a warning could prevent pain. But Nibbler also knows the domino effects. He knows the cost of changing one small thing. He's seen timelines where a small mercy becomes a universal tragedy. So he lies. Constantly, not out of malice, but out of necessity. Imagine being forced to manipulate the people you care about. Imagine having to watch someone walk toward pain you could prevent and staying silent because preventing it breaks everything else. That's Nibbler's job. Protect the future by withholding the present. He watches them struggle, he watches them cry, he watches them make catastrophic decisions he foresaw centuries ago. He watches them stumble into danger, and he can't always explain why. He can't always pull them aside and say, "Please listen." Sometimes he just has to nudge. Sometimes he has to set the stage and hope the pieces fall correctly. It's the emotional equivalent of being the only person who knows the building is on fire, but if you shout "fire," the building explodes. And deep down, Nibbler knows something else. If the Planet Express crew ever truly understood how much he's hidden from them, how much he's manipulated outcomes, how many truths he's swallowed to protect them, they might never forgive him. He is their protector, their guardian, their secret puppeteer, and that is a lonely role to play when all you want is to be seen as a person. But it gets worse, because even when he breaks protocol and tries to speak, nobody takes him seriously. If you've ever tried explaining something important and the response was, "Aw, look at you trying to talk," then congratulations. You understand Nibbler's daily torment. Because even when Nibbler risks everything and speaks clearly, people don't process it. They dismiss it. They treat it like a weird moment, a joke, a fluke. He could stand on a table and deliver a Shakespearean monologue about the impending collapse of reality with cosmic footnotes and interdimensional citations, and the response would still be, "Wow, the little guy thinks he's people." It's insulting. It's maddening. It makes communication feel pointless. And Fry is the worst, because Fry is the perfect symbol of why Nibbler suffers. Fry is kind. Fry is brave in his own clumsy way. Fry has a heart. But Fry's brain is a museum exhibit titled Human Confusion, a retrospective. Fry can hear Nibbler speak and still file it under "dream I had after eating something questionable." That's not just disbelief. That's cosmic invalidation. The universe has conditioned everyone to look at Nibbler and assume pet, simple, harmless, cute, not worth taking seriously. So every warning risks being ignored. Every attempt at vulnerability gets turned into baby talk. Every time he tries to be real, the world replies by scratching his head like he's a stuffed animal. That level of dismissal erodes the soul. It makes you want to give up on being understood. And the cruel part is, he can't even force them to understand, because forcing understanding breaks the game. So he has to accept being underestimated as part of the plan. Which brings us to the most humiliating detail that powers the whole tragedy: his body. You might think Nibbler's worst suffering is responsibility or loneliness. Cute. No. The true cruelty is physical. The body he's trapped in. Imagine having the mind of an intergalactic genius and the experience of millennia trapped inside a form that looks like a fur-covered marshmallow with legs. He can outthink civilizations. He can coordinate cosmic strategy. He can predict the probability of disaster based on the angle of Bender's grin. But he can't open a door without looking ridiculous. He can't hold authority because his entire silhouette screams, I belong on a keychain. His body betrays him at every turn. It invites underestimation. It invites baby talk. It invites the kind of casual disrespect people reserve for things they think can't understand. Even posture becomes a joke. How do you look commanding when you're knee-high and built like a plush toy? How do you communicate ancient guardian when your walk says pet store display? And the indignity is constant. He's picked up. He's carried. He's placed on couches like decor. He's dressed up. He's fed like he can't choose. He's treated like he exists for other people's comfort. And yes, eating is its own humiliation, because Nibbler's body does what it needs to do, but the optics are catastrophic. He eats like a pet. He's offered snacks like a pet. He's praised for basic behavior like a pet. Meanwhile, his mind is doing calculus on the stability of existence. It's a constant contradiction, immense power trapped in a body designed for underestimation. And the worst twist? He must maintain it. He must keep acting cute because the mask is part of the mission. The universe can't handle tiny furry God, so he has to stay tiny furry baby. His body is the joke. His mind is the tragedy. And every interaction is a cruel reminder intelligence and power do not guarantee respect, especially when you look like a squeaky toy, which leads us to the final grinding horror. The job never ends. If you think your job is exhausting, try being Nibbler. No weekends, no holidays, no sick days, no 5-minute break to collapse emotionally in peace. His entire existence is one endless shift, an eternal on-call schedule where the call is always coming from the universe itself. If a timeline hiccups, he's already awake. If a cosmic horror stirs, he's already calculating. If reality starts folding like a cheap chair, he's already trying to stop it quietly. And the most brutal part? Nobody knows he's working. To the Planet Express crew, he's napping in a basket. He's a cute little creature living a simple life. But inside his skull, he's running probability matrices, tracking cosmic threats, and adjusting plans so the universe doesn't collapse because someone on the ship got bored. Imagine doing 1,000 mental tasks at once while someone shakes a toy in your face and says, "Look, he likes it." His job description is basically save every timeline, neutralize unstoppable threats, manipulate key events, protect existence, don't let anyone know, and also act cute. That's the kind of workload that would give a superhero a stress rash. But Nibbler doesn't get to burn out, because if the Guardian burns out, everything else does too. So he endures, silent, constant, invisible. He doesn't go to a bar after a rough day. He doesn't vent. He doesn't cry into ice cream. He doesn't even get to admit the day was rough. He just resets and continues, like a tiny furry machine built for sacrifice. And that's the grim truth. The universe assumes he can handle it because he must handle it. There is no alternative, no backup, no let's rotate shifts. Nibbler is the shift. And all of this brings us to the final conclusion. The loop never changes. He saves reality again and again and still returns to the basket, the baby talk, the kibble, the costumes, the invisibility. He stops infinity from collapsing and gets a pat on the head. So, what have we learned about Nibbler? He isn't just a cute little alien pet. He's a universe-saving catastrophe wrapped in fur. His mind is a millennia-old supercomputer. His body is a plush toy designed for ridicule. His life is a never-ending balancing act between cosmic responsibility and the perception that he's adorable. And we laugh, not because he deserves cruelty, but because the absurdity is too perfect. The contrast is the comedy engine, the smartest being in the room forced to act like the least significant, the most important guardian in existence treated like a chew toy with a cape. We laugh at the trauma of an ancient being forced into perpetual infantilization. We laugh at the tragedy of someone who understands the fate of everything and still can't get basic respect. We laugh because the pain is so extreme, it becomes absurd. And the absurdity is so extreme, it becomes funny. But under the laughter is something else, a weird respect. Because Nibbler endures humiliation, loneliness, danger, guilt, and infinite responsibility while maintaining the mask. He holds the universe together while being talked to like a toddler. That is impressive. That is horrifying. That is somehow Futurama in its purest form. So next time you see Nibbler waddling around with those big eyes and tiny legs, munching on kibble like he's just a harmless pet, remember the truth. He's not just adorable. He's an emotionally exhausted, hyper-intelligent, universe-saving being pretending to be a snack. And that is why it truly sucks to be Nibbler. And yet, somehow, we can't stop laughing.